consciousness is an abstract I regard as omni-magnitudinal. Bruh. Are you making up words now? Yeah, I am, but bear with me for a sec. I've been thinking a lot lately, and have discovered whenever I submerge myself within deep thought, I often re-emerge at the tip of a pencil. If you haven't caught on already, I'm a big writing guy, and have been going ham in developing a deeper understanding of this craft. To this end, I resumed reading The Anatomy of Story by John Truby. The reason I bring this up is because a particular excerpt from the book's 4th chapter on character caught my eye, and served as the inspiration for a few new episodes of Decryption, including this one. The excerpt, in regard to character archetype, reads, "A second way that characters connect and contrast in a story is through archetype. Archetypes are fundamental psychological patterns within a person. They are roles a person may play in society, essential ways of interacting with others. Because they are basic to all human beings, they cross cultural boundaries and have universal appeal. Storytelling stands out to me as a life path because it provides me with the tools to fine-tune my perception of the human condition, what it means to be human. In walking this path, I have come to realize my perception has sharpened. By relinquishing any perceived notion of control over any single given situation, I have thus gained more control over my own will than ever before. I am here." Storytelling to my choice of lifestyle is as character archetypes to the human conscience. They are both one and the same. In The Anatomy of Story, Truby then goes on to categorize different character archetypes as the summation of their respective human traits. For example, I'd consider a character like Sonic the Hedgehog to be a fusion of this book's artist or clown archetype and rebel archetype, resulting in a fusion archetype I'm dubbing the Rascal. Great examples of characters with the Rascal archetype are Felix the Cat or even Bugs Bunny. It is my own personal opinion that the Rascal archetype is the purest character archetype in regard to human beings because humankind is the rascal of the universe. Before, the reason I refer to the artist clown archetype and the rebel archetype as interpretations is because I believe consciousness is an idea far too ever-changing to effectively categorize into any one number of categories. If you are confused by this, do not worry because that was only given. Human language is vast and bountiful, but also absurdly limited. I do not feel there exists a word that effectively encompasses a state of being similar to that of consciousness, and so I've conceived one: omni-magnitude, a state of being in which an abstract is so rich in nature it cannot be contained, thus becoming virtually incomprehensible. So anyway, Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania released earlier this October, and I am so very excited to discuss it. As I've stated on the channel before, up until this point my experience with the Monkey Ball series has been limited to the one time I played Super Monkey Ball 2 minigames with a friend on his GameCube. Oh, MonoCRYPTIC, you're one of those, huh? Brown monkey on the purple box. Yup, leave me alone, monkey brains. What did he say? What does that mean? Super Monkey Ball as a series garnered my interest for two reasons: the primates and its unique style of gameplay. First, you cannot go wrong with including primates in any form of media. Great apes are the cousins of humankind, baby. Second, being initially designed to be played on arcade machines using a banana-shaped joystick controller, Super Monkey Ball is a unique style of platformer because the player's control is heavily limited. As a matter of fact, while it is an unlockable feature in Banana Mania, older Monkey Ball titles had no dedicated jump button, alternatively encouraging the player to jump via manipulating the game world. This resulted in a gameplay experience that is wholly unique to this video game series. To preface the rest of this video, I'd like to extend a huge thank you to SEGA for providing me with a digital code for Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. I am truly grateful to have been given this opportunity, so again, thank you. Banana Mania is simple in the sense that it's nonsensical. The driving force behind this game's narrative is I and company attempting to recover the bananas stolen by one Dr. Bad Boon. Nice. Banana Mania is also simple in the sense that it's just good old Super Monkey Ball. For instance, because I had only played 2 before Banana Mania, I recognized the first world as Jungle Island almost immediately. I've yet to mention this, so now's as good a time as any, but Banana Mania is a total remake of the first 3 Super Monkey Ball games: Super Monkey Ball, Super Monkey Ball 2, and Super Monkey Ball Deluxe. That's a lot of monkey balls. For this reason, the various worlds included in this installment made their respective debuts in one of the aforementioned titles. Banana Mania also serves as a celebration for the series' 20th anniversary. Exciting stuff. Since I have limited experience with the series, I unfortunately cannot comment on if this game is faithful to its predecessors, but I can say the game is effectively Super Monkey Ball, just with extra fixings. It is astonishing it took me this long to give the series a shot, considering how much fun I had with Banana Mania's story mode. One of the Super Monkey Ball series' greatest strengths has to be the aspect of it I discussed earlier, control. This game provides the player with just enough control that they can tackle any course however they see fit, while still affording them a genuine challenge. Super Monkey Ball is a platformer video game series, but regardless, I don't think that one genre fully encapsulates the experience it has to offer. In my opinion, the best kind of game is one that appeals to what I believe to be the innermost facet of human consciousness, intuition. I do not wish for video games to detail how I should play, but rather provide me with the tools to play in my own way. Additionally, because I believe Super Monkey Ball accomplishes just that, I'd consider it to be a game in the purest sense. In other words, Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, as well as the larger series, is good because it's an enriching experience. During my playthrough, I found myself playing Banana Mania as if it were a puzzle game or even a racer. I cannot think of many games as fluid in design as the entire Monkey Ball series, and that's worth admiring. There's tons more to rave about when it comes to Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, like its phenomenal soundtrack and snazzy graphic design, but the aspect of the game I want to cap off this review by discussing is its party modes. It seems to me all of the classic Super Monkey Ball party modes are here, including Monkey Target and Monkey Bowling. Some of the modes I played on Super Monkey Ball 2 with a friend I mentioned earlier on. In fact, it's that same friend I played many of this game's party modes with, and we had a blast. Some of my favorite mini games were Monkey Boat and Monkey Shot. Monkey Boat is a really fun kart racer, except with boats instead of carts, and Monkey Shot is a fairly challenging on-rails multiplayer shooter. It actually took my friend and I about 3 tries to finally defeat the second map's octopus boss. Honestly, I think I could go on and on about how well constructed Super Monkey Ball is as a series and Banana Mania is as a game, but I won't because I'd recommend both for one reason alone. This is just really fun. Believe me when I say I am one tough customer to please. This is the case not because I'm too picky, but rather because I know exactly what I like. In knowing what I enjoy about a product, it is much easier for me to articulate in its favor or against it. However, because of the nature of this series and Banana Mania as a game, I do not feel it's necessary for me to articulate much in Super Monkey Ball's favor. This series is just honest fun, and sometimes that's all I feel I need to say. Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania is just honest fun, and that's why I'd implore you all to give it a shot whenever you get a chance. Although this may be true, it being unnecessary does not mean I won't further articulate on why Super Monkey Ball is cool to me. Earlier, I made a remark in regard to humankind and the Rascal Archetype that is hopefully still fresh in everyone's mind. Humankind is the rascal of the universe. The trait I believe to be at the core of the Rascal Archetype is intuition, which I also mentioned earlier in regard to human consciousness. This uncanny ability has allowed humankind to construct a deeper understanding of perceived reality. Intuition is what I believe encouraged Eve to take a bite from the apple of consciousness, granting her and Adam passage into a brave new world. Many people consider this to be the original human sin, but I disagree. Our becoming conscious of the omni-magnitudinal phenomenon transpiring all around us was simply a fate we could not escape. As if it weren't humankind, then it was destined to be a kind of some different nature. What I believe to be humankind's cardinal sin is the indulgence of ignorance, a simple lack of awareness. Consciousness and awareness are typically seen as synonymous, and I don't agree with that. At least not in regard to humankind. For example, let's think of it like this. When I wake up in the morning, I'm conscious of some aspects of the environment around me, but have yet to become aware of many more just as present. Like, I'm conscious of the fact that I'm awake, but since I just woke up, I might not be aware that it's cold outside or a man is being arrested on the corner of my block. Humankind became conscious in the sense that it awoke, but has yet to become aware of its true place and purpose in that aforementioned phenomenon. We are here and do not know what it is we woke up to, or even why we did. That is a very scary prospect, and I do not fault humankind for its many failings up until now. Even so, eventually our kind must begin to do better, and I believe that can be accomplished through us simply accepting our roles in the greater machine. In order to thrive, I believe humankind must grant itself the privilege of indulging in what it means to be human. As an illustration, I'd consider II from the Super Monkey Ball series to be another character that falls into the Rascal archetype. II is a rascal in the sense that his self appeals to what he is, a monkey. Great apes are cool because it seems to me that they just rely on their intuition. In many cases, some of these apes are intricate in design as a member of humankind, and yet they continue to just do monkey nonsense, bro. II and his crew find themselves engaged in various hijinks and wacky scenarios frequently, and it's all because they're monkeys who love bananas and refuse to ever stop. That is the essence of a true rascal, continuously getting oneself into trouble because there is something they yearn for and cannot resist. II literally values bananas above his own wife and child, bro. This monkey cannot be beat as the one true Sigma male. Regardless, do you understand what I'm trying to say here? II is conscious of the fact that he's here, yet aware he is still just a monkey, and no amount of cognitive deliberation will ever change that, so thus, he continues to be just a monkey. Humankind has long since lost sight of its banana, and that's okay, because we are naturally intuitive creatures. Our answer lies inward, not outward. In conclusion, we have yet to even begin to grasp the full breadth of what it means to be human.